Key 1. Stoic. Do you ever feel like you're just waiting for someday to happen? We all say at some point, someday I'll be happy, someday I'll go after my dreams, someday I'll live the life I truly want. But what if I told you that someday isn't a distant idea? It's today. The key to unlocking your best life might be simpler than you think. It could be right at your fingertips, ready for you to claim. Imagine this. What if the secret to transforming your reality and making your dreams a reality wasn't about waiting for a perfect moment, but about living as though it's already happening? This shift in perspective is incredibly powerful, and it could reshape how you approach your goals, your dreams, and even your daily life. When you start to see each moment as an opportunity, you change your immediate reality and build the foundation for lasting fulfillment. I'm so excited to share this perspective with you because I truly believe it holds the power to create lasting, meaningful change in your life. If you're finding this conversation valuable, consider showing your support by hitting that subscribe button. Your support helps keep this journey going, and each part of this conversation builds on the next. So stick with me, and let's unlock some truly transformative strategies together. Let's make someday well today. Let me be real with you for a moment. There was a time in my life when I lived on pause, always waiting for the perfect moment to chase my dreams. I convinced myself that someday everything would just line up perfectly and I'd be ready to go after what truly mattered. But that day never came. It wasn't until I realized that I had to create that moment. That's when everything began to shift. One day, I asked myself, what if I lived as though I'd already achieved my dreams? That change in mindset was like a light bulb turning on, and it all started with the teachings of Stoic philosophy. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius emphasize that it's not life's events that define us, but how we choose to respond to them. So, instead of waiting for some perfect moment, I began asking myself, what would the successful version of me do today? Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. That simple question changed everything for me. I stopped waiting for opportunities to come to me, and I started creating them. I moved with the confidence and energy of someone who had already succeeded, and that momentum opened doors I didn't even know existed. It felt as if the universe was conspiring to help me succeed, because I was finally in alignment with what I truly wanted. Now, think about your own aspirations. What could you accomplish if you started living as though your biggest goals were already achieved? Imagine waking up every day with a sense of purpose, knowing exactly what you're working toward. This isn't about pretending. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that's already thriving and moving forward with unwavering determination. The as-if mindset isn't about tricking yourself. It's a courageous way to bridge the gap between who you are now and who you want to become. And within that gap, you'll discover not only the achievements you seek, but also the personal growth that comes with aligning your actions with your highest potential. When you live as if, you don't just survive, you thrive. You become fueled by the best version of yourself. This is the Stoic way, to live each day as if it were both your first and last, with vitality and purpose, grounded in your deepest values and ambitions. So let's do this today, not tomorrow. Step into the person who has already achieved everything you've ever wanted. Watch how it transforms not only what you do, but how you feel about everything around you. This isn't just about accomplishing goals. It's about transforming your entire perspective on life. Here's a practice that I often return to whenever I feel disconnected from my goals: visualization. But this isn't just about daydreaming. It's about creating a vivid, emotional blueprint for your future. Imagine you've already achieved your biggest goal. What does that look like? Who's with you? And most importantly, how do you feel in that moment? I remember when I first tried this. I envisioned myself as a sought-after speaker, sharing insights on life and Stoicism. I pictured stepping onto the stage, the bright lights, the expectant faces of the audience, the silence hanging in the air waiting for my first words. But the real shift came when I focused not just on the scene, but on the emotions I felt: confidence, excitement, fulfillment. This wasn't just a fantasy, it was a rehearsal for the reality I was creating. The Stoics were experts at using visualization, not as an escape, but as a tool for preparation. They called it premeditatio malorum, where they would visualize challenges and setbacks to prepare mentally and emotionally for adversity. In our case, visualization isn't about wishing. It's about fortifying yourself to push through obstacles and relentlessly pursue your dreams. Every morning, I spend a few minutes visualizing not just my goals, but the feelings I want to experience. This practice doesn't just get me out of bed. It propels me into my day with the energy and clarity needed to make my dreams a reality. No cup of coffee required. So, what will you visualize today? What emotions will you tap into as if your success is already a done deal? Embrace this technique and watch how it transforms your mindset, your actions, and your entire life. Let's make someday happen today. Key 1, Stoic. Imagine waking up every day filled with joy, pride, and a sense of excitement, knowing you're already living the life you dream of, even before it fully materializes. This isn't just about being optimistic. It's about strategically rehearsing for your success. It's a powerful practice that sets the stage for your dreams to come true, long before they actually manifest. Let me share a moment from my own journey to show you how this works. There was a time when my aspirations felt as distant as stars in the sky. I wanted to be recognized as a leader in my field, someone influential, inspiring, someone people could look up to. But here's the twist. I didn't wait for the accolades or the recognition to start acting like that person. I began every day asking myself, how would the leader I aspire to be handle this situation? Whether it was dealing with a tough client or facing setbacks, I stepped up. I made decisions from a place of confidence and authority, not hesitation. I dressed the part, spoke with conviction, and most importantly, I made choices that someone successful in my field would make. This wasn't about pretending. It was about embodying the best version of myself. I didn't wait for external validation to feel proud or successful. I gave myself permission to feel those emotions now, even before my dreams came true. By doing so, I was creating a powerful emotional connection with the future I was determined to build. Now, think about your own goals. What would the person you want to become do every day? How would they handle stress, interact with others, or face challenges? Emulating these behaviors, living as though you're already the person you aim to be, isn't about acting. It's about self-actualization. The Stoics, ancient philosophers, often spoke of living in harmony with nature, meaning you should align your actions with your true potential. So, I'll ask you, what can you do today that aligns with your vision of success? It might be taking on a project you've been avoiding or reaching out to a mentor. Every action, no matter how small, brings you one step closer to the person you want to be. Sure, there will be days when it feels like you're just going through the motions, but remember, consistency is key. Each action, each decision, aligned with your future self, strengthens your path toward becoming that person. Living as if you're already there is not just a strategy. It's a transformation that begins deep within your emotional core. Let me tell you about a time in my own life when I set my sights on becoming a motivational speaker. Every morning, before the sun even peeked through the curtains, I would stand in front of the mirror, rehearse my speeches, and imagine the applause that would fill packed auditoriums. This wasn't about wishful thinking. It was about emotionally anchoring myself in my future success. I felt the excitement, the nerves, and the raw energy of those moments before I had even stepped on stage. But here's the important part. I didn't wait for the applause to feel validated. I allowed myself to feel proud, capable, and truly moved by the journey I was on. This emotional resonance, this deep connection to my vision, is what powered me through the setbacks, the doubts, and the rejections. The Stoics called this amor fati, a love of fate. They believed in embracing everything life brings, not just the good, but the challenges too. By emotionally aligning myself with my future role, I wasn't just waiting for success to come. I was living it in my emotions and reactions. So, what emotions would you feel if you achieved your greatest dream right now? Try to live those emotions today. Feel the joy, the gratitude, and yes, even the responsibility that comes with your dreams. When you align your emotions with your aspirations, you're not merely hoping for a future, you're already living it. This practice doesn't just prepare you for your dreams, it attracts them. When you resonate with the energy of your goals, the world begins to respond in kind. In my journey, I realized that simply dreaming big wasn't enough. It had to be paired with daily, actionable steps. I learned this lesson when I committed to writing a book on Stoicism. The task seemed massive, like a mountain before me. But by breaking it down into daily manageable steps, it transformed into a series of small, achievable victories. Every morning, I wrote at least one page. Some days, the words flowed easily. Other days, it was like squeezing water from a stone. But regardless of the struggle, this daily discipline was non-negotiable. It wasn't just about finishing my book, it was about reinforcing my identity as a writer and a scholar. I was living out Marcus Aurelius's advice. The color of your thoughts dyes your soul. By focusing on positive, proactive thoughts, I was coloring my soul with resilience and determination. Now, let's translate this to your own goals. What's your mountain? Perhaps it's starting a business, learning a new skill, or improving your health. Break it down. What can you do today to move one step closer to your summit? It could be as simple as reading for 20 minutes, practicing a new language, or choosing a healthier meal over fast food. These actions, though small on their own, have the power to transform your life when practiced consistently. I challenge you to take one small step today and feel the power of aligning your actions with your future success. This journey isn't about waiting for a breakthrough. It's about creating it one day at a time. Key 1. Stoic achieving lasting change doesn't happen overnight. It's built on a foundation of small, daily actions. Take a moment to think of 3 specific, time-bound actions you can commit to every day. Write them down and make them as precise as possible. Instead of saying, I will exercise more, say, I will walk for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. This level of specificity acts like a mini contract with yourself. By fulfilling these promises each day, you build integrity, self-trust, and a sense of accomplishment. In the spirit of Stoicism, it's important to remember that it's not just about the actions themselves. It's about how we approach them. Treat every small task with the same seriousness and commitment as you would your ultimate goal. This shift in mindset is crucial. Each small task completed is a brick in the foundation of your dreams. You're not simply wishing for a better future. You're actively creating it with each step. Doubts and fears are natural companions on any meaningful journey. I remember the early days of my speaking career, standing backstage, heart racing, palms sweaty, questioning if I was truly cut out for this. What if I failed? What if the audience didn't connect with my message? These questions would swirl in my mind, threatening to undo all my preparation. But then, I would take a deep breath and recall a core Stoic principle. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. As Seneca wisely said, this realization was transformative. Fear, I learned, is often not rooted in the events that confront us, but in the shadows of our minds. Acknowledging this didn't make fear disappear immediately, but it allowed me to see it for what it truly was, an internal obstacle, not an external truth. The Stoics teach us that facing fear, whether from within or from others, is part of the process when pursuing something that challenges the status quo. To move past it, the first step is to simply acknowledge your fears without judgment. Say to yourself, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I have doubts. This is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of profound courage. It is the first step in reclaiming your power from fear. Next, ask yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? This question opens a space for you to explore possibilities without the weight of fear holding you back. Often, it's not about eliminating fear, but learning how to move forward in spite of it. This is something the Stoics excel at. They focus on what is within their control, their actions and responses. Make this a practice. Each time you encounter doubt or fear, write it down. Acknowledge it. Then, write a counterstatement that reflects the action you would take if fear weren't a factor. This practice not only helps manage fears, but builds a reservoir of courage and resilience you can tap into over time. When I first started integrating Stoicism into my daily life, I quickly learned that the true challenge wasn't in understanding its principles, but in consistently applying them every day in every decision. Patience, resilience, and wisdom are qualities we admire, but they are incredibly difficult to live out, especially when life gets chaotic. I remember one particularly challenging week when everything seemed to go wrong. Clients were upset, deadlines were missed, and my personal life felt just as tumultuous. It was during these moments, these tests, that the power of consistency became crystal clear. Instead of letting despair take hold, I focused on maintaining my Stoic practices, reflecting on my reactions, focusing on what I could control, and accepting what I couldn't. This didn't solve all my problems instantly, but it gave me the clarity and calmness to navigate through them with a steadiness I hadn't experienced before. Consistency in our actions transforms what are isolated efforts into habits, and eventually, those habits shape our character. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your consistent acts create your reality." Every day, by choosing to act in alignment with my values, no matter the circumstances, I was not only building resilience, but actively constructing the life I envisioned. Here's what I suggest to anyone on this journey. Find your practice, your anchor, that one thing you commit to doing every day, no matter how small. It could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for, meditating for 5 minutes, or reading a page of a thought-provoking book. The size of the action doesn't matter. It's the regularity that counts. It's about showing up, even on the days when you don't feel like it. Think of it as forging your character in the fire of daily life. Each day is an opportunity to reinforce who you are and who you want to become. This consistency is what builds the bridge between your current self and the ideal version of yourself you're striving for. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Remember, the path to a Stoic life isn't about grand leaps, but the small steps we take each day. Stay steadfast, embrace the process, and the path will shape you as much as you shape it.